Welcome. Thank you for being here. This is Crystal with Simple Studies. I'm just here today to share with you kind of what we're doing in this term 3. Now we have an 8th grader and roughly a 4th grader. I'm going to go over what we're working through for this last term. This is term 3 and we go about 12 weeks. I'm really excited to share with you some of the books that we're utilizing and some of the curriculum that we've pulled together. As many of you know, we use the Alviary curriculum provider, and they're amazing. And I love a lot of the books and lessons that they have for us for our school year and for our homeschool. But I don't use everything. I pick and choose, and then I fill things in with other curriculum that works for our family, which is what you should always do. If it brings you joy as a parent and you're passionate about it, then your kids hopefully will be too, or more likely to be passionate about what you're studying and the lessons you're using. Okay, let me get started. Morning Circle. What we're using this term is first Leviticus. It's this tiny little commentary by Nancy E. Gans, and you're like, Leviticus, really? It's a book of laws. It's dry. Why are you studying this with your children? I could not find a more suitable thing to study with my children at this point in time. This studies God's laws, and therefore why we could never fulfill and be, those laws and be perfect, and why we need Jesus. That being said, this commentary is great. We've had some great discussions already in just the first week of term 3. Cannot highly recommend these commentaries more. They have one for Genesis and Exodus, and we have another one. I can't remember what it is. Okay, moving on. So selected poems from Emily Dickinson. I love her. I think I've studied her 18 times in the last 10 years of our homeschool, but that's okay. We're finishing The Children of Odin, which we always love to read tales in our morning circle. And then after that, I actually picked up, I cannot remember who recommended this book, but she said, if you love Pilgrim's Progress and you've read that with your children, which we have, The Giant Killer or The Battle Which All Must Face, it is just a sweet little, I think 12 chapter book. I'm really excited, very short. Yes, this is an antique. It was from the 1800s. When I bought it online, I did not know I was gonna get this antique one. It didn't even have a photo, but I'm really pleased with the edition that I received in the mail. We are almost done with Black Beauty and are moving on to the Swiss Family Robinson. I have a few copies from the 70s and 80s, and they're just so fun. I'm really excited to read all about that adventure with my children. And then for our history, we do family history. You're reading Augustus Caesar's World. Now, I couldn't find anything online that actually has a companion outside of Beautiful Feet Books does sell this, and they have a guide, but not necessarily the images that the kids could look at and we could talk about while we read through this amazing book. So what I did is I go through and I use the Scanner Pro app. I take photos of the images in the book, and that way my children can sit there during our morning circle and look at those. And my daughter will sit there and draw for her narrations, and I'll put these all in her history narration book at the end. But they each have their own folder. I just plop it out there in the mornings. And we're actually reading that 3 or 4 times a week right now, because I really want to, it's you want to fit everything in before the end of the year, but I'm also absolutely okay if I don't. And if we don't get to the end of things, that's okay. Learning is a journey. You should not try to check everything off your boxes, off your calendar, boxes, list. You know what I'm saying. Let's see. Oh, Caravaggio. This one is by, oh gosh, why can't I ever remember? A Humble Place. Love her guides, love her studies. Simply Charlotte Mason also has picture study guides as well with beautiful art prints. I love the art prints that are sturdy, and there's one behind me that we studied this week. So these are great. Again, really wonderful morning circle discussions. Last but not least, every single morning circle that we sit down, the kids, one of their favorite things to do, and one of my discoveries this past year, thanks to fellow YouTubers, was Science Shepherd. Now, our son, I'll go into his science later, but We are about a third of the way through this. Awesome, so awesome. And it provides both the naturalism versus creationism, and it holds those two theories up to the light, discusses both, and you're able to have discussions after the videos. They're like 5-minute videos, and then we talk about it, and there's little quizzes that we just orally navigate together. Last but not least, we'll be reading through Julius Caesar, and that was a request of my children. They really wanted Macbeth or Hamlet, but we've done those a lot. And this is the young reader's Shakespeare. So my 8th grader technically should be reading through the actual play of Julius Caesar, but sometimes your time is crunched and you need to work as a family, and that's okay too. The exposure is what is more important, in my opinion. Okay. Also, for those morning times, especially with my elementary child, I have a membership. I provide guides each month with fresh topics that you get to dive deep into. So these are not like an everyday thing. This is when I wake up, I have my coffee, and I am like, scrap it all. We're gonna do something really fun and exciting and different, which is rare. I don't always need to use all 3 deep dive topics in those guides, but it is a membership. I'll link it below. Every single month, on the first of the month, you receive fresh ideas for your homeschool when you're like, you know what? I need to just do something different today, and so do the kids. And it at least creates this launching pad and enough information to get you going and excited about different topics. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to my daughter, 4th grade. I just released, let me get to the cover, Poetry in Color. You guys, this has been like I would say flying off the shelves, but it's a digital product. But this has been going so amazing. Thank you all so much. This was like one of those random inspirational moments where I was like, I really wanna, and I've had a lot of people request poetry guides, and this is more of like just a really fun experience in Hailstones and Halibut Bones, a very teeny little short book. And it talks about all these different colors, and the lessons obviously are very short, very sweet, and they're all exploratory into your child and what they see around them in those colors. And can you feel colors? Can you hear colors? Can you taste colors? Like, this has been a blast, and my daughter wants to do it every day. So really excited about that new guide. And I do have a new guide coming out here in a couple months, and we're both so excited about it. We finished Fables, Writing and Rhetoric. This is still my favorite program. We don't do it every day. We probably do it twice a week, and we work on copy work or other types of writing skills, especially her narrations. She's just now getting into the written narrations. Charlotte Mason believes that you do not need to sit down and write your narrations out until you're 10 years old. She's still 9. So I do not push writing as much as probably a lot of other families do, at this age. To each their own. Okay, so math, nothing has changed. And let's see, science. We are still doing Simply Charlotte Mason, and therefore we are reading through Pagoo. Lovely little book. Gotta love these Holling books. Moving on to my son. Let's see. He flying through Algebra 1. He's my math kid. Excuse me. We do have a tutor come over once a week just to work with him, make sure that we work out any kinks. And it's really helping him work smoothly through his lessons. But it's a subject that he loves already. And I realize math is not everybody's favorite subject, and that's okay. I do think everything works together. Math is in everything in God's design, and there are some really fun ways to teach math. That does not mean it's always very fun for mom or your child, and that's okay. And thankfully, there are so many products and curriculum and people out there, frankly, that are helpful and really do love the subject and are able to pass on that passion. Okay, going through this, he's almost done with the Spanish, grammar, daily lessons. His writing is the class. It's a class that he takes for Lost Tools, and he reads through Narnia, so he is finishing that this semester. His science, he's almost done with his life science. We did not go through, I am pausing at a certain spot because again, this is Science Shepherd. Same thing we're using in Morning Circle for the astronomy. And actually, I'm going to be adding on their Unearthing the Bible. Really excited about Science Shepherd, and I love all of their content, and so do my kids, and that is what matters most. For I do see Simple Studies as being a launching pad and Nature Study into science, but when you're really getting into that nitty-gritty science, and Apologia did not work for our family. It was too text heavy, and I had heard about Science Shepherd and it was amazing. I am not an affiliate, you guys, by the way, for Science Shepherd, Lost Tools, Saxon, Simply Charlotte Mason. So when you hear me talk about all this, the only thing I am an affiliate for is my actual company, Simple Studies. So, okay, so going back into what he's reading, now via the Alviary, he's reading through this. This is obviously for an 8th grader. This is like super duper simple, which is actually helpful. I do not believe you need to tack on all the huge novels just because your child is of a certain age. If there's a 5th grade, like if you go on to Ambleside Online and they have different books for different grades, don't just focus on that one grade that or level that your child is in. Expand your horizons beyond that and even under that, because to me, I'd rather my son be exposed to way more books, and I've talked about this in previous videos, maybe at a level that is a grade or two younger than where he's at, but that means he's still exposed. We're studying Africa a little bit, and he's doing geography map drills on Africa, and I feel like instead of dragging our feet through another massive novel, he can read this and really get a great glimpse into a true life story, which is something we all adore. Okay, so his poetry, The Ballad of the White Horse. Okay, so we're finishing up. This is our Constitution, great book. He's also finishing up, this is another part of the geography that we just did not finish in term 2. Again, wasn't worried about it. I'm like, we'll just keep chugging along. And it's a wonderful book. He absolutely loves that book. And then for his sci-fi class, he is reading through Journey to the Center of the Earth, The Martian Chronicles, The Time Machine. I'm reading all of these with him. And then there was one other book that he read. He read A Wrinkle in Time for a second time in that class. Speaking of classes, something that didn't work for my daughter, 4th grade, right? I was like, oh man, we really need to dive more into geography. Alviary was exploring the US states, and I actually did that with her last year. So I needed to get in a different path. That, again, my words today are really bad. But geography, I picked up these and they did not work. These are so dry, you guys. I tried. I was like, okay, well, at least we can get through some map and some tidbits. They're not a bad choice if you're very just lesson oriented and really want to get some things in. But I feel like as far as a living education, I have used Evan Moore here and there just to sharpen some skills. I cannot rely on them for life-giving lessons. So that being said, those did not work. Therefore, I have her working with a teacher in hands-on geography. Our co-op is once a week. She's doing Idaho history. I'm so excited about that. We live in Idaho. Yeah, we do. Watercolor with an amazing teacher. And then I'm actually teaching a wilderness life skills class, and that has been a really big blessing. I love all my students. And then my son is taking his sci-fi class, and it's like a sci-fi lit class. They read and discuss the books. A watercolor class, hands-on science, just to create that intro to a lab experience. And then of course his Lost Tools of writing. Let's see, the other thing, again, I am not an affiliate for this company. I have promoted their stuff before, but I cannot tell you how much my children have learned and retained from the Tuttle Twins series. We have the whole 12 series of comics. We have the series of the chapter books. They have watched the shows. They retain more about inflation and economics and statistics and entrepreneurship through Tuttle Twins than I think I could ever expose them to through lessons. The Uncle Eric books are great too, but they both just really love that series. So if you have any questions, I hope this is helpful. Term 3 is always a little mismatchy based on what you need to kind of maybe complete and stay consistent with versus what you really want to be inspired with. Again, if you're interested on changing things up without completely throwing out your curriculum, I highly recommend the membership because these simple and fresh guides offer 3 deep dive topics. Let me know if you have questions, and I really appreciate you being generous with your time and watching this little video today in this little corner of the world. I hope it's helpful, I hope it's inspiring, and I hope you feel inspired for your term 3 of this homeschool year. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.